And welcome back. Dr. David James is the co-founder and manager director of the Global Initiative for Advancement of Africa. He joins us. And Dr. Utchay Odims is the co-founder, president, Global Initiative, also for Africa GIAA. So let's talk about the continent. And you have the core mission of the African Ambassadors Economic Forum in Washington, D.C. What is this forum?
Okay, basically the idea is actually to be able to bring leaders from within the continent, stakeholders, people who truly matter, who can make decisions when it comes to things happening within the continent of Africa, together and look at how we can actually enhance collaboration between Africa and the United States of America, because we believe that at this moment somebody has to take the lead. More than ever before, we believe strongly that there must be a deliberate attempt to enhance the relationship between the U.S. and Africa. And that's why we stepped up, creating a platform that could create opportunity for leaders within the continent and, of course, United States of America to think how we can strengthen relationship between the continent and the United States of America.
When you think about strengthening the United States and Africa relationships, the United States first has to take Africa seriously, and it has to deliver for Africa, because the United States have created this gaping hole where China and Russia and others have come in and exploited your minerals, your resources. What does it take for the United States to sort of, remember what Bush did with the billions of dollars that he gave to Africa, which was a game changer. What is it that what needs to happen in order for the United States to understand the value and the void that it has left?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Now, this particular platform, there are three major things we stand to achieve. I mean, three driving forces. The first one is we want to get leadership right in Africa. The second is to get trade right. Now, when we're talking about trade, we're not talking about just picking up mineral resources. We're talking about value-added trade. And thirdly, we are interested in having African Americans and Africa unite together and speak with one voice. That's the only way we can make the continent proud. So in terms of trade, one of the biggest things that the United States government needs to do right now is to do what we call value-added trade with Africa, and not just doing trade and all. So we are paying premium on that. So what that means is, don't just take the resources and move it over to the US. For instance, we have a lot of cocoa in a place like Nigeria and Ghana and all. Don't just take cocoa and bring it over to the US. After you now refine it and the rest of it, you now sell it times 10 of the amount. It turns to chocolate. At the end of the day, times 10 to us in Africa. No, open up factories that can actually manufacture chocolates and the rest. With that, we can create employment. Because one of the biggest problems in Africa right now is economic problem. We need to mitigate that gap. And the United States of America has the wherewithal, the technology, have everything. And that's why we are like, we need to have a close partnership with the United States so we can make Africa great again. And that's what the whole drive is all about. And if we have all the mineral resources, the US need that. We have all the manpower. We have a very vibrant, youthful population. The United States need that. Let's have partnership. Let's do business. Let's not do aid. Let's do trade, value-added trade, and with that we can grow the continent. And at the end of the day, the United States will be giving some thumbs up. So that's what we are driving right now. We need more of partnership with the African continent.
What's interesting about that, I've heard privately from many people on the continent, when the United States decided to abolish and defund U.S. aid, many African countries thought it was a good thing.
Yeah.
Why?
Honestly, for me, we see it as a no-brainer, right? Because if you look at how much money has come into Africa over the last decade, right? You ask yourself, where are those monies going to? Who's managing the money? So it's not just about bringing money. So who is managing the money, and what is the impact of the money that is coming to Africa? So we think the only way you can buy a continent is to show them how to fish and not how to consume fish. I believe the idea of providing aid that has no direct impact on the people is doing the continent a disservice. So when you stop aid, what you're doing, you're empowering the people to think a bit differently. And we're not just saying stop aid, we're saying do it a bit differently. Take, for example, how many young people do you have in Africa? Millions of them. In Africa, you have 35, you have about 70% of the population within 35 years old.
Yeah.
Why don't we begin to think of a strategy of empowering that demographic, right? The only reason why everybody wants to run out of Africa is because there are no jobs, right? Life there is a bit difficult. But the truth is that if we reverse it and provide capacity for these young people who are there, those ones can be anywhere in the world and get access to jobs. The internet has made things a bit easy right now. So we're saying U.S. need to partner with Africa a lot more strategically. Aid hasn't helped Africa in the last 20 years. It hasn't, right? So what do we do differently? What we want to do differently is to get U.S. to partner with Africa in such a way that there will be a meaningful, trackable progress in the area of capacity building for young people, because those are the ones truly that will build the continent.
How do you address, you talk about leadership, how do you address the corruption, the greed, the exploitations with certain African leaders in the motherland? How do you address that? People believe that a lot of them are no different than the colonialists that they defeated, and they become the new colonialists, because people, in terms of working out for people, giving them the economic structure, giving them the food and agricultural base, bringing them out of poverty, they just don't see it overwhelming in some of these countries.
Yeah, the corruption is there, real there, and the truth of the matter is that one of the ways that we can actually mitigate that is by strengthening institutions. If you look at Africa very well, you see men are more powerful than institutions. Yeah, that's why even the U.S. need to actually help out. A place like the United States, there's some certain things you can't do because they are strong institutions. I once said something in a program in Namibia. I said, bring the most corrupt leader in Africa and bring him to like US or America. In 3 months, he's going to throw in the tower. Because when you want to steal their systems and structures, you can't steal nothing and all. Yeah, that will checkmate you and all. Yeah, that's the truth. If we can do same in Africa.
So you're changing the culture.
Yes, changing the culture. And we need America to actually help out in this. And not just, okay, we elected that president. Most times the elections in Africa is not even by election, it's selection. And that's ridiculous. It's not the will of the people. And when the people know that this is not their mandate, they are not happy about it. They won't give in their best. But believe you me, Mr. Armstrong, I tell you something. African population is the best. African youth are the best people you can know globally. Most of the things you see right now happening in Africa, the jobs, the opportunities, are being created by the young people. We need institutions, strong institutions from the US to come and partner with Africa, the private sector. More of the private sector to drive an agenda of the Africa we want, not just government. Like Dr. Davis said, most of the aids that are coming to Africa, nobody is not even giving an account, not even being accounted for and all, and we can move ahead like that. We need more private sector intervention right now for us to achieve the Africa we want, and the US is going to play a major role in that.
So why is regional integration so critical, David, for Africa's future development?
Thank you very much for that question, sir. As a matter of fact, if you look at the way Africa is structured, right, intra-African trade is below 20%, and that shouldn't happen, right? Why? Because there are many militating factors that is making it difficult for Africa to trade with itself, and we need to break all of those walls. Take, for example, if you're traveling from a place like Nigeria to Liberia, it's going to take you like about 8 hours to do so because there are no direct flights, right? But it's easier for me to go to London than it's easy for me to go to Liberia. That shouldn't be the case. If we have interconnectivity in such a way that I can literally move from West Africa in 1 or 2 hours, right? We will increase the value of trade, within those continents. So for us, we see this as a very strategic opportunity. That's why we want to bring leaders within the continent. I know funding is also a very critical factor. That's why I said, if US have to partner with Africa, they have to do it a lot more strategically. Why don't we have a station where US comes in and say, okay, you know what, take a look at the infrastructure I want to take on. This and this and this within XYZ space of time, and then this is what I'm looking for. For me, that's a lot more strategic, because since US is not stepping up and doing that, China is moving big time. Take a look at what's happening within the continent. So,
why is this forum and that you're putting on this week, why is it so important, and who's participating?
Okay, this forum is very important for Africa. And when we're talking about Africa, not just people that live in Africa, African Americans, very important, because we need to come together. One of the major things that we're paying premium on this conference is that a lot of people, you know, when you meet somebody, we're talking to somebody, a very wealthy person, somewhere in Texas, and while we're talking to the person, we're like, hey, there's a major thing that needs to be corrected. When you meet somebody, an African American, you ask the person, where are you from? He said, I'm from North Carolina. But when you meet somebody that is from China, you say, where are you from? I'm an American, but I'm from China. You meet somebody that is from India, I am an American, but I'm India. But when you meet a black American, you say, I'm just North Carolina. No. You are from somewhere. One of the major calls we're calling, there's a call to return back to motherland. The place where you are from, no matter where you are, even if you've been in America for 200 years, you can't be more American than the American themselves. So wherever you are from, find out where you are. I'm an American, I'm Nigerian. And the funniest thing is that Africa is the biggest and the most blessed continent in the whole wide world. In fact, there's something we normally say, Africa is the Garden of Eden. For those that are faith-based people, Africa is the Garden of Eden. That's where it is. A lot of mineral resources. And those of us, the African-American, there's a grace that God has given to us. Technology, technical know-how to come help the continent. Because if there's nothing in Africa, why are the Europeans scrambling to come there? Why are the Americans scrambling? Everybody wants to have a handshake with Africa. And there is something there. We need our brothers and sisters, African Americans, to come partner with us, and we are making it very loud. There's even a book we are bringing out in this program that can actually endear and connect a lot of people to their roots and all.
Let me mention this quickly before I say goodbye to you, David. You know, I noticed President Trump, whether it comes to the Congo and Rwanda, has been involved in trying to stop a lot of the strife and a lot of the genocide in Africa. How do we address that issue?
For me, that's really bold. I think we commended the president so profoundly for making an attempt to actually stop the carnage that is going on in those countries. And in order to be able to sustain that, that's why we need a roundtable, right? People say, okay, why the talk? It's a lot of talk. I said, no, that is how you change the world. Wars don't start by just walking on the street. People have to say something to offend the other people before war starts. So we have to stand on the round table. We have to actually look at some of the challenges that are stopping Africa from moving forward. And wars and carnage is one of them. So leaders have to learn how to talk. I mean, just like I said, even if we start war today and 1 million people die, everybody still have to come back to the table. So why don't we just do that?
Well,
it's easier.